Well, COVID-19 cases are also rising sharply in Turkey. The country currently has more than 18,000 confirmed cases and 356 deaths associated with the virus. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is under growing pressure to impose a general lockdown to slow the outbreak. What he did announce and introduce early on is a curfew for the chronically ill and those older than 65, people who have their own special needs.
Home delivery, Turkish style. For many Istanbul residents, this is not a novel way of doing their shopping. But with the coronavirus epidemic worsening, it's now become a lifeline for the city's elderly. Local shopkeepers have quickly adapted.
We have started a delivery service, so they call us and we help them any way we can. If they want something from the shop or the market, we take it to their homes because they are our elders.
The curfew for citizens older than 65 was among the first measures taken by the Turkish government in their battle against the epidemic. Local authorities have been told to be strict, to enforce the rules and send people home. At first, however, many pensioners wouldn't listen. Şengül Altan Arslan from the Istanbul municipality tells me.
Nothing really changed during the first days, but when you look at it now, you can see that the use of public transport, for example, is down 90%. And this is a strong sign that our older citizens are more aware of the importance of the issue now. They're following the rules more than before.
The more pensioners stay at home, the more work there is for municipal support teams across the city. They have delivered groceries to tens of thousands of quarantined Istanbulites. But despite the early introduction of a curfew for the elderly, it has proven too little in the fight against the virus. More measures have been taken. Istanbul's Grand Bazaar, one of the largest in the world, is now closed, as are schools, museums, sports clubs, bars and cafes. All international flights have been stopped and domestic travel severely restricted. Istanbul's new gigantic airport, empty and deserted. And Şengül Altan Arslan predicts that more measures will come.
Here in Istanbul, the population density is very high, so it's safe to say that we will need more radical measures eventually. After all, Istanbul appears to be a hotspot of this epidemic.
With more restrictions looming, Istanbul's patience will be tested, as well as the solidarity of its people.
And I am joined now by our Turkey correspondent, Yulia Han, who is currently in Berlin. So, Yulia, Turkey has seen this sharp rise in new infections. Tell us a little bit more about how it is spreading across the country.
It is spreading fast. The number of officially confirmed COVID-19 cases in Turkey has more than tripled over the past 7 days. It now exceeds 18,000. More than 350 people have died. That's all according to the Turkish health minister. However, critics argue that the actual number of cases might be higher, that many infections have gone unnoticed because authorities have just recently ramped up tests. Some people have also criticized that the government for weeks has not revealed which parts of the country are most affected. So it was only 2 days ago that the Turkish public officially learned that Istanbul is the epicenter of this crisis, a city of 16 million people, and it has 60% of all the coronavirus cases in Turkey.
And with that criticism swirling, what has been the government's response?
Well, most of the measures have been mentioned in the report. We just saw there a curfew for the elderly, schools were closed, travel bans put in place, mass prayers, gatherings at mosques have been suspended. But President Erdogan has so far stopped short of imposing a complete lockdown on public life in Turkey. He says the economy must continue to function. But with the number of cases on the rise, he's come under increasing pressure from medical experts and from the opposition, most importantly from Istanbul's new mayor, Ekrem İmamoğlu. He has repeatedly called on the central government to impose a stay-at-home order on the city's residents, on all of them, not just the elderly, as quickly as possible. As the mayor, he can't just announce such a curfew himself. Let's listen to why he thinks it's necessary.
We still see 15% of people moving around in Istanbul. And this is very frightening because it means 2 million people are out on the streets every day. That's as much as the entire population of some big cities in Europe. It's a real threat, and it's why we say we need stricter measures.
So the mayor is concerned there, clearly. How well-equipped is the health system to cope with the pandemic?
Well, many doctors would only speak to us journalists on the condition of anonymity because they say they're too scared of speaking out. So the Turkish Medical Association, the country's largest doctors union, does, and they have been saying that Istanbul's hospitals were short on gloves, goggles, masks and other protective gear, and that they could face a severe shortage of ICU beds. The Turkish government, on the other hand, is trying to give the impression that the health system is robust, that they have enough resources. Just a few days ago, they sent protective equipment and disinfectant to Italy and Spain. So the government's message is we are well prepared for this. We're so well prepared that we can even support other countries in need.
Turkey correspondent Julia Hahn, thank you.